Hey, what's going on, guys? Glorious Gun here, and today we're going to be talking about Marvel Rivals. A bit of a departure from my last video, but you know, kind of what was the topic of mind. I have been playing this game a lot. I wouldn't say like incessantly, but it's definitely had a surprising longevity in terms of keeping my attention. And you know, admittedly, I guess we are still in that honeymoon phase of the game, right? But it's also just really rare that, you know, a new release just kind of shadow drops like this and, oh, what? Like, the game's fucking good? Like, granted, the optimization on PC is dog shit, hence why you're watching me play on console. There are ways around this. Like, there's a Nexus Mods has already a slew of optimization, you know, file replacements that are pretty easy to install, but I think the fact that people with good PCs are having trouble running this game. I mean, it's doing parts on Unreal 5. That's a big factor. But just poor optimization in general. It's been a forever fucking issue with PC gaming. In spite of all the benefits, all the configuration, there's a lot of heavy lifting on the player's part typically. But the community's pretty steadfast about that. So that aside, what I really want to focus on today with the game is just kind of discussing probably the most core and important factor of it thus far, which is fun. And it's a very subjective term. Don't get me wrong, this game is very easy to have a bad time with, and we'll discuss that as well. But I think on a core, I'm playing a video game, am I enjoying myself, you know, minute to minute, whatever have you. The answer would be yes. And I think that's just due in part to, like, the game, having a lot of respect for the characters, and I feel like all of their kits do a really good job of representing them, in a sense. Even characters I'm not, you know, incredibly familiar with, like Cloak and Dagger or Magic. Surprisingly, everyone I've played thus far feels amazing. I know a lot of people that are probably newer to this type of game that don't play a lot of hero shooters. Not many Overwatch 2 vets or TF2 fucking closet nerds like myself that have also been playing like competitive shooters for, you know, how many plus years. But I find that they are having some difficulty adjusting. But even then, I feel like there is a hero or an archetype that kind of fits everyone's playstyle. As corporate PO as that sounds, I do really think it stands true. And it's just been really fun. And to that point, I think that's kind of something that is obviously missing, you know? Amidst the stagnation of gaming, this is the best of times, it's the worst of times. I think between a lot of just kind of dog shit management between product releases, cough cough, Black Ops 6 at the moment, and their, you know, fucking abysmal Doritos Ranch servers that are running, you know what, like, fucking... what's the tick rate on that shit? Like 5, right? You know, where Valorant is on console pushing 128 tick servers that, you know, CSGO is not even fucking pushing, you know, in spite of the multi-billion skin industry and all the gambling and shit that goes around that. But that's just a topic for another day. But yeah, so I think Marvel Rivals kind of... you know, having good server connection, I'm not having hit registration issues, seems to have lots of server options, and is pretty accessible in a lot of ways, at least on the console side of things, has been a huge benefit. I mean, the game modes are not revolutionary. I don't think any of these archetypes are something that people that have played Overwatch or TF2 are not unfamiliar with, but I think culminating a really strong artistic art style that was not held to the MCU standard in spite their appearance and skins. I think going with the direction they did, and, you know, for lack of a better term, like, not filtering the characters through, I guess, any corporate lens that would lead to a lot of artistic restriction. I feel like there's obviously passion in the design, and that goes for a lot of their base designs. You know, I think the fact that if you really wanted to, you play Marvel Rivals and, you know, you want to be as frugal as possible, not drop a fucking cent in between the freebies and shit NetEase puts out, you know, given their gacha background. You can, you know, accumulate some cool cosmetics, not have to pay shit, but ultimately I don't think you would need to, just on the merit of the base designs are really well done, and they're enticing. And, you know, that's such a strong component. I think having a lot of legacy voice actors like Steve Bloom or Nolan North doing Rocket or, you know, Cap, I think there is a lot of reverence and care that went into making sure that these things were represented as well, and that led to another really strong impression. You know, you're playing, obviously, with nostalgia, you're playing with a strong IP in a world where a lot of hero shooters, you know, come and go faster than you realize. Some with budgets that are beyond comprehension, like Concord, and what just an absolute fucking dumpster fire that was. So, you know, I'm hopeful with this game's content, Crewman. I think another important thing going forward, outside of keeping the game updated and fresh with new heroes and maps, is not catering so much to the competitive aspect of the game. That's not to say the hero balance is not something that should be taken accounted for, but if you start making all these restrictions like Overwatch 2 did and changing the formula too much to the point where everything is so metatextual and the barrier to entry is so incomprehensibly high that it's just going to put people off, and it will slowly corrode the game. You will have a core audience, but you're not looking at the core audience of fucking Dota 2 or CSGO in that sense, you know? So I think keeping the game in kind of a chaotic state, even though there is a 2-2-2 with the Vanguard, Duelist, and Healers, I think it's conducive not to put a role queue in, even though there is that competitive side. What a fucking sick play, by the way. Jeff, absolute G, winning that game there for us. But yeah, I think just all of those things, in addition to just not taking a game in some kind of fucking esports heavy oriented direction, even though that is already present, not leaning in on that and interrupting the gameplay experience for casual players, I do see Marvel Rivals sticking around and potentially having the same kind of weight that a lot of other popular games do now. But thank you guys for watching, and yeah.